Good evening. Welcome, everyone, to Trivia Night. Gemma, Kitty Q, good evening. Welcome to tonight's trivia. Hope you all had a great week. Hope the weather is cooperating with wherever you are today. It is a sunny, that's what the weather report says, sunny outside. I don't see that sunshine anywhere. I look outside, all I see is clouds. But it says that it is 34, 33 degrees. Keeps on going back and forth between the two. So it's probably, we'll just call it 34. Kathleen, good evening. Welcome to tonight's trivia. 33 or 34 degrees here right now. It says it's sunny, but I can't see sunlight anywhere. All I see is clouds. I guess a large portion of the U.S. is, being plummeted into the negative, temperatures, along with snow. I know Scott over on True Crime Loser, why Schmida, why is well, he did one live stream today, keeping everyone abreast of the weather conditions in New York. Francie Becca, hello. It's snowing in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Well, Francis, good evening. Hello, Joe Tallchief. Good evening to you and to everyone in the frozen tundra of Minnesota. Welcome to tonight's live stream. Trivia night. We are doing on the Freeway Phantom. All the questions are about the Freeway Phantom. Gonna give it another 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Be back in 2 and 2, like Chuck Woolery would say. Before we start, does it snow often though, Francis, in New Mexico? I've never been there at this time of the year. I've been there in June and July in the Albuquerque, New Mexico area, but of course it's negative 30 where you live. Of course. Is it snowing? Is it currently snowing right now, or do you have snow on the ground? Sweet universe. I'm sorry if I probably said Joe Tallchief earlier. Well, I'm staying warm regardless. Got my hot cup of coffee. Looks tiny on the screen though. I mean, that's a full size coffee cup. It's a 12-ounce coffee cup, but it just looks tiny on the on picture. Tells you just how they say the camera adds 20 pounds to an individual. I believe it. It probably adds another 20 pounds to me, but makes other things look smaller. It should add 20 pounds to this coffee cup. No snow. Welcome to say Joe Tallchief. Well, I see the name and immediately it just clicks on my head that it's Joe Tallchief. I know the name. All right, another 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let's get started. This is the 392nd episode. Yeah, if you're new here, there are 391 other episodes of this trivia night that you can find on 2 different playlists here on YouTube. 392nd episode. This trivia night is intended solely as entertainment educational purposes. At no point do I or we diminish or disrespect the families or survivors, nor do I or we place the perpetrator on a pedestal or present them in a manner that invites admiration. My educational background is in journalism and in research, And every question presented tonight is supported by verified facts and documented sources. All the questions are presented in a multiple choice format. Participation is individual. There are no teams, no logins required, and no fee to play. You just simply answer A, B, C, or D, multiple choice. You have 4 options with every single question, and we'll see it. But this event is entirely free and designed simply for enjoyment. Participations are welcome to keep score if they choose. Some people like to do that, some people don't. It's completely optional, but it's equally acceptable to play without tracking your correct answers. Remember to be on live or all chat and not on top chat, so you will see the answers and the questions as they actually come up. Ivory Lady, it's 11 degrees where Ivory Lady is. That is cold, sweetheart. I am truly sorry. The Freeway Phantom is a pseudonym of an unidentified serial killer who murdered 5 girls in the Washington, D.C. area between April 1971 and September of 1973, while being connected to a series of missing cases during the same time frame and same location. Viewer discretion is strongly advised for anything that you will ever find on this channel. I talk about real crimes and with real facts. There's no hype. There's no bullshit, that is thrown in there. And I'm not going to get into, hey, did you hear what somebody else heard? This trivia night strictly adheres to verified factual evidence that is presented by sources, reputable agencies such as the FBI, DOJ, whenever applicable, the Interpol, and Scotland Yard. We do not engage in conspiracy theory speculations or unverified claims about what may have occurred. If you are looking for that type of content, this program may not be the right fit for you. Thank you for your understanding and have a great day. Shout out to all those who, here in a second. But tonight's trivia will cover only the following areas: offender, if known, background, crimes committed, investigation, sentencing, verified lesser known facts, and criminal activity. Each question is rated on a scale: easy, medium, hard, or not ranked. All of the trivia questions come from U.S. Crime Trivia. That is the name of the company. Not my company. It's a company that I pay a subscription to, who that runs pub trivia. Like if you go out to a bar and for trivia night, maybe they have true crime. They're getting the same questions that they're putting on the screen from U.S. Crime Trivia, the business itself. They're an LLC out of, I think, New Haven. But anyways, but you can read through this or pause the screen if you want to see, what each of the categories are: easy, medium, hard, or not ranked. Without further delay, let's get into tonight's trivia and get ready to rumble. First question is now on your screen. What year did the Freeway Phantom murders dismember victims in the Washington, D.C. area? Was it A, 1968, 1969, B, 1970, 1972, C, 1971 to 1974, or D, 1973 through 76? Excuse me. And caption, hide that caption so I can get it on the complete screen. Inner Peas, good evening. Welcome to tonight's trivia. Purple, Kathleen, good evening. And welcome to everyone. Thank you for joining me tonight for trivia night. I'm truly happy that each and every one of you is here tonight. First question is on your screen. What years did the Freeway Phantom murders dismember victims in the Washington, D.C. area? Kitaku is starting off with B, question mark? I don't know. Maybe. Good evening, Short and Eyes. And remember, as always, everyone, be on live chat or all chat. Live or all chat, not top chat. Smoke them if you got them. Question number 1. The correct answer to question number 1 of 20 is B as in boy, 1970 to 1972. Now, I need to clarify something right here before we go forward. I'm going to go back a couple things here and show you. All right, so here on this the Freeway Phantom, it says the serial killer who murdered 5 girls. As we go forward, you're going to learn that there are a lot more than just 5. Initially, only there were 5 girls, but we know of now a 6th one that has been identified as of 2025 that was in fact a victim of the Phantom, of the Freeway Phantom or Highway Phantom, known by both names in popular culture. So if you see a question that says 5, it's actually 6. If you see 1972, it's actually 1973, because of the 6th one was found to have been murdered in 1973. All right, with that, let's go back to question number 2. Put myself back in my little bubble here in the corner. How many confirmed victims are officially attributed to the Freeway Phantom? Remember what I just said. Was it A, 4, B, 5, C, 6, or D, 7? And you are correct, Joe Tallchief. Oh, the kitty's watching. Meow, meow. How many confirmed victims are there? Officially. Joe Tallchief, Gianna Marie. Good evening, Gianna Marie. If I missed you before, welcome to tonight's trivia. Kitty Q, Purple, and Ivory Lady are all going with C. Question number 2 of 20. You're just joining us now. You are not that late. Need to get a membership for Kitty. The answer to question number 2 is C as in cat. 6 is the actual number. 6 are confirmed victims of the Freeway or Highway Phantom. Question number 3. How many missing young girls are still unaccounted for that many be victims of the Freeway Phantom? Is it A, 15, B, 16, C, 14, or D, 11? How many missing young women are still unaccounted for that may be victims of the Freeway Phantom? Ugh. I gotta get a new chair. This chair, instead of sitting level, it always wants to tip forward like this, so I'm like leaning closer to the table. I mean, it goes back, but if I just sit in one spot, it always wants to lean, so the front is like this. So that's why I'm always jumping around. You'll see me moving around and scooting back in the chair, trying to get it to go, just go flat, stay flat. Oh, the third world country things that I have to deal with, huh? I'm so poor. I have to sit in this, expensive gaming chair. They have to deal with all these things. D, hopefully, as horrible as that is, Kitty Coo says, with a question mark. Maybe. It could be D. Short Nice is going with A. Gianna Marie is going with B. Question number 3, the correct answer is D, as in dog. So there are 6 known victims of the highway or freeway phantom. There are an additional 11 girls that disappeared from in and around the Washington, D.C. area that are of the same age, same ethnicity, that disappeared between the years of 1970 and 1973. They initially, of those, there were 12 really, initially, but then they were able to confirm because they found the body of one, and we'll get into where he dumped these victims and how they were discovered later on. But he dumped them in areas where he thought that they would be found right away. Well, it just happened to be that this one victim kind of got buried by mistake because of construction. And that's the one that was murdered in 1973. So now it's 11 young women who disappeared during that time frame. Question number 4. What demographic trait do all known victims and missing victims share? Was it A, they were all homeless, B, they were all runaways, C, they were all African American, or D, they were all drug addicts? Question number 4 of 20. The Balanced Life Studio. Good evening. Please hit that thumbs up and support Will. It does help the algorithm. Well, thank you very much. I hope that everything down, in the South where you are is going great today, that you're able to stay warm. I don't know what the weather is like there if you're getting hit by this winter storm. Lemon pie citrus. Lemon pie citrus now. Well, good evening, lemon pie. Welcome to tonight's trivia. And again, to the Balanced Life Studio. I hope we are all having a great day today. Question number 4. The correct answer is C, as in cat. What you've been seeing here in the picture that is directly above me here are of the 6 known victims of the freeway murderer phantom, highway phantom. Thank you very much, Inner Peace, for dropping a link to her channel. I appreciate that. No snow where Kathleen is. Well, that's good. Hopefully, it's not too cold. Question number 5. Which key piece of evidence connected all the confirmed victims, but not the missing? Was it A, seen with a white man prior? B, all wore ribbons in their hair? C, all wore a dress the day they vanished? Or D, seen getting into a 4-door sedan? Question number 5. What key piece of evidence connected all the confirmed victims, but not the missing? Sorry, I'm on a backup computer. Battery died. I'm back on my cell phone. Well, I'm glad you're back, Gemma. That's all that matters, sweetheart. Katika is going with D? Question mark? I don't know. Could be. Short Nice is going with D as well. Still want to interview you just when or you're free. That's always the hard one, Balance Live Studio. Because let's see, it's 4 o'clock here on the West Coast. Right now, it's after midnight there, so that's an 8 hour difference for her right now for her. So you're in what, Central? So that would be 2 hours. So it's six something there where you are, I believe. It's, if I'm wrong, I don't. I'm trying not to give away your location. That's up to you if you want to say it. But anyways, so that would be still 6 hours difference. Learn something new. I want to do a trivia night on the Williams, who killed all those children, the Atlanta child killer. I just never been able to finish it. I've been working on it off and on for about, well, let's say a good solid couple months since before the new year. 721 there. So yeah, you're 3 hours ahead of me. So it's eight. So it's 5 hours difference between you and Gemma. I want to do something with Gemma too, but it's hard because of that time difference and my schedule. All right. The answer to this question is that B as in boy, on the day that each and every one of the confirmed victims disappeared, they were all wearing ribbons in their hair, either where they had their hair tied back in one ribbon, or they had pigtails, or they had braids with ribbon in it, but they were all wearing ribbons in their hair the day that they vanished, but not the missing. It may be just something that we'll find out later on if they ever did convict anybody, and we'll find out more about that. That it was just a fluke that these six girls were all wearing ribbons and the other ones weren't. We don't know necessarily what the other girls were wearing. Maybe it's going to turn out that all 17, if murdered by the same individual, were wearing ribbons. We don't know yet though, but all six of the confirmed victims were. Next question. Where were most, not all, victims' bodies discovered day or weeks later? Was it A, a wooded remote parks, B, abandoned buildings, C, near freeways, or D, along riverbanks? Wayne Williams? Yeah. Wayne Williams, the child killer of Atlanta. I do everything I can to confirm all of the questions that are on here. Even though I get them from a trivia site, I still have to go through them all because some of them are just absolutely weird, and how they phrase the question. And sometimes I'm leery that they may be AI generated, and if there's a mistake in it, and I can't use it for here. But even though I'm getting the trivia questions, the subject matter suggested by you, the viewer, the questions themselves I get from the company, I still have to confirm them. I have to find a source for them all, and I'm just worried that that they're going to be that AI generated. Will, were you on the West Coast when Elizabeth Smart went missing? That was an excellent documentary just released. Elizabeth Smart. Well, it all depends on what year Elizabeth Smart was um, disappeared. Balanced Life Studio. I don't remember exactly. All right, the answer to this question is C as in cat near freeways, hence the name Freeway or Highway Phantom. The media gave that nickname to this killer because they disposed of all their victims along a freeway or highway. Next one. Which victim was found with $1.05 in her left hand, allegedly? Now, I'll read the options here, and then I will tell you why it says allegedly. Was it A, Brenda Crockett, B, Diana Williams, C, Loretta Jones, or D, Joyce Cornell? Why is it listed at, say, allegedly? Because two officers who were there at the actual discovery and watched the collection of the evidence saw them uncurl her hand, and there was $1.05 in her hand. While in the actual notes of the detectives and photographs, there is no photograph of money being in her hand. Was the $1.05 collected and inventoried and we just never have learned about it? Or was it something that one of the officers said he thought saw money in her hand and then told the other officer and they just repeated the same thing? But believing why would the other officer, say something like that? So it's an alleged item that was found in one of the victim's hands. So which one is it? On the set of the Jersey Shore. Kitty Kid is going with A. Question mark? It could be. I don't know. The answer to question number 7 is D as in dog. Joyce Purnell. Question number 8. Which victim was found with a handwritten note taunting law enforcement? Was it A, Joyce Purnell, B, Loretta Jones, C, Diana Williams, or D, Brenda Crockett? Question number 8. Which victim was found with a handwritten note taunting law enforcement? Which victim was found with a handwritten note taunting law enforcement? The correct answer is A as in apple, Joyce Purnell. This is a copy of the note. You can read it yourself on the screen there. Signed the Freeway Phantom. Catch me if you can. Question number 9. Why was the note found with Joyce Purnell especially disturbing to law enforcement? Was it A, it showed advanced literacy? B, it was written in the victim's blood? C, it referenced future victims? Or D, it used police terminology? Question number 9. Why was the note found with Joyce Purnell especially disturbing to law enforcement? And after this question, I will go back to the note again. I know I'm not on screen there. Here I am. Hello. I know. But I have to go back. So I'm gonna disappear again when I go back. Because otherwise my picture covers up part of the note. Da-da-da-da. Question number 9. Short and Ass is going with A. E, it was signed by Joy Barr. And lemon pie for the win, ladies and gentlemen. It was signed by Joyce Barr. Kiddiku, D question mark. The correct answer to question number 9 is A as in apple. It showed advanced literacy. Going back to the note. Here is the note again. Read how it's actually written. Now, according to the FBI, whoever wrote this note tried to disguise their actual handwriting. You will see like the word admit is actually a number 4. And these are certain things that the FBI circled in their analysis of the note itself. On top of that was how the word insensitivity is written, along with how the Freeway Phantom is written with a long extra line at the end, not an exclamation point on the M there, but both of them underlined, Freeway and Phantom, only part of it. But they circled these things because they believe that the individual who wrote it was trying to disguise the way that they wrote the note in their handwriting. Additionally, the notes say the E's in all of the words are different, written different, like they were written out with one hand and then switched back to another hand. You will notice a capital E in the word when, and lowercase, in E in me, and different style of E in woman, and an E with this on the word especially with an extra precursor like the tip Q, and then in uppercase E in sensitivity again. But then there's the E in people, which is just like a line in a squiggly line in it. But these are all things that the FBI noted in their analysis of it that shows that the person was trying to cover up their actual handwriting. And they believe it was done with 2 different hands, like their left hand and then their right hand. But that was questioned about why the police found it especially disturbing, is because most notes that are left by an individual in circumstances like this tend to show a lower IQ in their actual structure of how the notes are written and what the notes are written about. Even people like Dennis Rader, his notes were very simple and very constructed and broken up in such a way that showed that he was conflicted on what he actually wanted to write. Maybe he wrote it out a dozen times and then he put together the final note. But That was especially disturbing to law enforcement. Question number 10 is now on your screen. I'm going to get myself back in my little corner here. Here we go. What method of killing was most commonly used for the 6 known victims? Was it A, stabbing, B, shooting, C, blunt force trauma, or D, strangulation? Excuse me. Question number 10 of 20. What method of killing was most commonly used? Aubrey Lady is going with D. Gianna Marie is going with C. Inner P's? Purple, D. Kathleen, D. Kitty Q. Common, D. Question mark. I don't know. It could be D. Don't you judge me. Joe Tall Chief is going with D. Purple is going with D as well. Question number 10. The correct answer is, in fact, D as in dog, strangulation. Except for the one, Crockett. Crockett was the only victim of them all that died of strangulation and blunt force trauma. Crockett, Joyce Crockett. Blunt force trauma and strangulation for that one. And she is in the upper middle of, so there's the top row of 3 in the picture here above me. She is in the middle at the top. In the handwritten letter left with Joyce Purnell, the one line read itself as this here, so a lot easier for you to read it. You know, and I put it in yellow in case you couldn't read the handwriting in the note itself. The letters also referred to clues. There's an additional. So, how do I put this? I should have shown. Okay, so this is the note itself. See the jagged edges of the note, and there's another piece of paper, and you match them up, and there's like a part there right here that matches up. See how that matches up? In the actual note, what you read is this. There's a second piece of paper that was found on the scene, but it was a ways away, about 100 yards actually. The lines almost match up, and they believe the second part was written also by the killer. Like they decided, I'm just going to leave this with her, and this part they tried to discard. I mean, it was like 100 yards from where the actual victim was, because they went up and down the roadway in both directions, and that's where that second piece was. Referred to other clues only known to the killer of the 11 missing young women. That note, that second piece, has never been released as far as I know. And here is a bonus opportunity for each and every one of you out there. I want you to, if you have the time, to research the Freeway Phantom case. If you can find that piece of paper, a picture of this second piece of that note, I will give you a bounty if you can actually find it. No, I'm serious. I have not been able to find an actual piece, a photograph of that second. I know what the note says, but I'm not going to release that so somebody goes out there and makes it with AI. But I'll give you a bounty, an actual cash bounty, if you can find a picture of that second piece of the note. And I don't think it was this small. Okay, so in case you can find it, I'll pay you for it. I want a picture of that, because I know somebody who's actually researching and writing a book on this case, and they would love it for their book as well. So you help me, I'll give you something, I'll help them. All right. That is our first 10 questions. If you are new here or just now following along and tuned in the last couple of minutes, after the first 10 questions, we always take a break, a 5 to 6 minute break. During that time, I'm going to cover two cases of people. These are actual real people from around America that are missing, America and Canada, that are missing and endangered. I am proud to be partnering with leading organizations to raise awareness for missing and endangered individuals, including the Center for Missing and Exploited Children, the Charlie Project, the FBI, Alaska Bureau of Investigation, Indigenous Missing Persons Unit, the RCMP from Canada, along with the Missing Persons NAMUS coordinations, along with state and local law enforcement agencies. Together, we aim to shine a light on these cases and support the families impacted and keep their stories alive in hopes of bringing a resolution. Last year, there was a case that was solved after 43 years. The individual was missing for 43 years and was found alive and well after 43 years. Hope is a real thing. If you've ever had to deal with anything in your life that is challenging, maybe it be a medical issue or, something where relationship is, at a dead end and you have to leave it, hope is all you have when you walk out the door or when you're dealing with that situation, medical or whatever. But as long as you have hope that tomorrow can be a better day, you have to keep the hope alive. With that said, three cases that I'm highlighting all year long are April Dawn Andrews. She has been missing since 2006. There are over 3 dozen different sightings of her since 2006. The last one was in 2025. If you know where April Dawn Andrews is, obviously these are all computer generated or altered photos to make them look different from where they looked. But anyways, that she may have longer hair or darker hair. She could be wearing glasses. She's certainly not going by the name April Dawn Andrews or the other two either. But again, if you know anything about her, you can call 1-479-451-8220. Next one in the middle here is Anna Marie Wellborn. She has been missing since 2021. Again, her hair could be shorter, it could be lighter in color, and she could be wearing glasses as well. And she again is definitely not going by the name of Anna Marie Wellborn. Both of them are probably picked up completely different names, and both of them left on their own accord. And to make it absolutely clear, because somebody pointed this out to me in the comment section a couple weeks ago, Sylvania Morris on the end here, all the way to your right, the African American woman, has been missing since 2016. She did not, from what they know, leave or disappear on her own accord. That there most likely is foul play involved in it, according to 2 different news stations. I can't confirm what they reported other than that. But if you know anything about what happened to Sylvania Morris, you can call 1-415-553-1071. These are not the missing cases that I'm reporting on this week. These are ones I'm highlighting every week. Never give up hope. Again, 43 years after she was found, she was missing, she was found alive. Our first case this week, and your time for your break starts now. Your 5 to 6 minute break is Carolyn M. Allen. She went by the name of Marie or Marilyn. She is 50 years old as of 2025. She is an African American female. She disappeared from Charlotte, North Carolina. She was last seen either on 1/1 of 2016 or in 2019. She is 5'4", 150 pounds with black hair and brown eyes. No known habits or features, scars or tattoos or medical conditions. Allen was last seen in the 5,000 block of Regan Drive in Charlotte, North Carolina, sometime in January of 2016. She has never been heard from again. She wasn't reported missing until 2017. Law enforcement didn't start looking for her or classify her as missing until 2019 because of a filing error. Again, she could have been missing for a year at that point or 3 years at that point when they finally started to look for her because of a filing error mistake. If you know where Allen may be, you can call 1-704-336-4978 if you know anything about what may have happened to her or where she may be today. And frankly, there are no clues that point to one direction or another, foul play, or if she walked away. Nobody knows where she was, at, other than the last time she was seen, it was in the 5,000 block of Regan Drive. They're not even, sure exactly where she lived. And even the family members who eventually reported her missing, probably a year after, they don't know where she lived at either, other than she lived, in North Carolina. Next one is Tasha Nicole Rice. She goes by Nikki Green on social media. She's 34 years of age as of 2025. She is a Caucasian female. She disappeared from Cherryville, North Carolina. She was last seen either on 5/26 of 2014 or 2/17 of 2018. 5'5", 145 pounds with brown hair, blue eyes. Habits and features, she is a drinker, and everybody who knew her said she liked to party and she was a drinker. She does have flames tattooed on her lower abdomen belly area. No known medical conditions. She was last seen leaving her friend's home in Cherryville, North Carolina on the evening of May 26, 2014. The later date is of a possible sighting of her 4 years later. She got into the a black four-door sedan occupied by an unidentified female and has never returned home and has never been heard from again. Since her disappearance, her cell phone has been turned off because she had a prepaid monthly plan and it's since lapsed and it's turned off. So they can't restore it and they can't access it because the cellular company she was with is no longer in business. They've since sold out to another company. Authorities believe Rice may be dead. However, they have no evidence to prove that, or that other than the gossip on the street is that she may have owed money to this lady that she got into the car with, and that lady may have done something with her, which then, there's the possible sighting of her in 2018. If she did disappear back in May of 2014, she certainly couldn't have been murdered because she owed money to this lady and then reappear 4 years later, unless there's something else really going on there. If you know anything about what may have happened to her or where she may be today, you can call 1-704-732-9050, or you can go to the Nikki Green Facebook page that her friends have set up to, help try to find her, or anybody that knows information about what may have happened to her. And that is the Nikki Green Facebook missing page, the link there in bluish green. Last but not least is my brother, who disappeared in 1977 or 1978. He would be in his 70s today. If you vanished from either the Prescott, Wisconsin area or Hastings, Minnesota, if you're not familiar with the area, you wouldn't know why there would be two different, one in Wisconsin and one in Minnesota. They're that close to each other, okay? You can almost not tell where one town stops and the other one starts. Again, he is 5'10", 155, 165 pounds back in 1977, 1978. Brown hair, bluish green eyes, smokes cigarettes, and he may be a diabetic if he's alive today. In brief, my brother was estranged from our family because he opposed my father's strict, religious upbringing. My father believed that he joined a cult. A cult is anything to my father was anything that wasn't Roman Catholic, because we started our lives as Roman Catholics until the Roman Catholic Church closed, and then it was replaced by a Catholic church. But my father believed if you were a Baptist or a Lutheran or a Presbyterian or Mormon, you were in a cult. He believed anything that was, again, that was not Roman Catholic was a cult. So my brother said, the hell with that. He was of age, so he just walked away. And my father had everyone in the family remove all of the photos of my brother. He disowned him completely. Luckily for us, my uncle, Roy John, kept photos of him and didn't tell his brother. So, we eventually got those photos. His social security number is stopped being used over a decade ago, but is not listed in the Social Security Death Index database, nor is he listed in any state death database. We know where the Social Security number was last used, and we know what he was doing for a living at the time before his Social Security number stopped, and what he was doing for almost a decade before then. If you know anything about where he may be, you can contact the link there for missing persons in the state of Wisconsin. Did you know you can support this content in multiple different ways? Not just super chats that you can do, super stickers, super thanks afterwards, by gifts, by gifting channel memberships to people, or gifting to the creator themselves. There's also channel membership. There's merchandise purchase, PayPal donations to the investigation fund, and Patreon. Thank you for watching the Missing and Endangered Cases. Tonight, break isn't over with just yet. I will tell you shortly just how much of the break you have left. You have 1 minute and 30 seconds left. Rams touchdown, huh? Hopefully this isn't loud. That is loud. I don't know why it's so loud. Oops, sorry. And we're back without further delay. Let's get back to our trivia. Question number 11 is now on your screen. Let me second here, flip to my second page of notes. Don't want to read you the notes for question number 1. All right, question number 11. Which victim disappeared in broad daylight with over 30 possible witnesses while running an errand for her mother? Was it A, Loretta Jones, B, Shaquille Laurel, C, Diana Williams, or D, Brenda Crockett? Question number 11 of 20. Kitty Kid's going with D. Question number 11 of 20. Which victim disappeared in broad daylight with over 30 possible witnesses while running an errand for her mother? Question number 11. We got Kitty Q, D. No question mark for Kitty Q on this one. Purple and Joe Tallchief are all going with D. Question number 11. Kathleen is going with D as well. The answer to question number 11 is D as in dog. Brenda Crockett. On the street where Brenda Crockett disappeared, there were two different families that were leaving a family gathering, and there were possibly 30 people in that group who were out in the front yard or getting into their vehicles approximately at the time that Brenda Crockett disappeared. And none of them saw little Brenda Crockett. None of them saw or heard anything at all in broad daylight. A little girl vanished with all these people out on the street, sidewalks, and getting into cars. No one saw anything. Question number 12. Sadly, all the victims had been abused in very graphic and disturbing ways before and after being murdered. Besides who? Was it A, Brenda Crockett, B, Jeanette Smith, C, Diana Williams, or D, Loretta Jones? Question number 12 of 20. Sadly, all the victims had been abused in very graphic and disturbing ways before and after being murdered. Besides who? Short Nice is going with C. Question number 12. Apparently everybody's leaving. The correct answer to question number 12 is B as in boy, Jeanette Smith. Jeanette Smith is one and only of the 6 known victims that was not abused in multiple different ways, either before she was murdered or after. The only one. Why was Jeanette Smith different? We don't know. Question number 13. What time of day did several of the known missing young women vanish? Was it A, late at night, B, early morning before school, or C, after school early evening, or D, at dawn? You didn't see that, Joe Tallchief? Question number 13. Here's a story about how someone was murdered. What time of day was it? Dun dun dun. They were murdered. At what time? Kitty Q's going with C? Question mark. Do 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 do. The correct answer to question number 13 is, in fact, what Purple said. It's either A, B, C, or D. It is C. C as in cat is the correct answer. After school, early evening time was when several of the known missing victims vanished. Question number 14. Which federal agency had to be forced to help with the investigation because they didn't feel they could help? Was it A, CIA, B, ATF, C, FBI, or D, DEA? Question number 14 of 20. Which federal agency had to be forced to help with the investigation because they didn't feel they could help? Smith wasn't one of the six. I will have to look into that, short enough. The PTA. The PTA. We can't help. Which federal agency had to be forced to help with the investigation because they didn't believe they could help? The correct answer is C, as in cat, the FBI. The FBI did not believe that they would have any jurisdiction in it because all of the crimes were committed in one state and they didn't cross state lines. And in their actual outline of what the FBI can get involved in says that they must have crossed either a state line. There must have been some type of of crime that committed across borders, something to that effect, or it had to be a serial crime. And they didn't believe that these were initially that all the crimes were connected to one individual. They believed that this was just someone killing young girls in the African American community from Washington, D.C., and they didn't think that they needed to get involved. If it wasn't for the state law enforcement saying, we need your help, we do not have enough manpower or the investigative units to actually put on this case to solve it, they never would have gotten as close as they did. Because let's face it, ladies and gentlemen, and I know you don't want to hear this, but when it comes to Native Americans, people of color, their crimes are not pursued and investigated at the same level as it would be if it was a little Christian girl or six of them from the suburbs, that disappeared and were found murdered. Every goddamn law enforcement agency in the United States would be on that like tomorrow. State, county, the forest unit would be out there investigating. But when it comes to those who are marginalized in the society, and unfortunately, back then in the 70s, they were extremely marginalized and they didn't put the resources behind trying to solve these type of cases. The FBI did not want to do it, and if it wasn't for the state and state of police forcing the FBI and saying, "Look, we need your help. Do not back out on this. We need your help." They finally got involved. Next question: what key forensic evidence was collected and preserved that was unused for decades? Was it A, hair samples, B, bite marks, C, shoe impressions, or D, semen evidence? Oh, cool, Kitty Coo. I haven't had a chance to go back and check the score yet. Oops. Oh, I don't want that. It's true. Like Gabby Petito recently. Oh, yeah. Out, and at the same time that Gabby Petito disappeared, and every law enforcement agency in the United States, signed up to help investigate it, there were two women that disappeared in the Las Vegas, Nevada area who were there on vacation, and they got almost no press at all. Very true. Very good example, Joe Tall Chief. Sucks to blame the media for that too. Yes. All right. The correct answer to this question is D, as in dog. Semen evidence sat in the evidence room, collected from each of the victims, and sat there for years before being tested for DNA. They tested everything else, and they're like, that's too degraded. But then they discovered that they had collected semen from each and every one of the victims, and there it sat untested for years. Just again, another thing that proves the fact that they just didn't care. They didn't follow through, and they didn't put them, even with the FBI involved, didn't consider it a top priority. Next question is, which suspect later emerged due to DNA advancements but died before charges were ever filed? Was it A, Samuel Little, B, Donald Smith, C, Jesus Christ's brother, Craig, or D, James Mitchell? Oops. I don't know why it keeps on doing that. I'm clicking on the ESPN like ticker, but then it immediately starts playing the very next like link. Don't know why. I don't want to hear anything. I don't want to see videos. I just want to see the update of the score. 13-17 Seahawks. And internet's being weird. Weird. Purple, Kitty Kill, going with B. Kathleen going with D. Question number 16. The correct answer is D, as in dog. James Mitchell was connected to all of the murders and very well may be the Freeway Phantom or the Highway Phantom, same thing, same case, but died before they could ever indict him. He was connected via the DNA link to all 6 of the known victims. Now, bonus points for you if you know where the possible answer, Jesus Christ's brother Craig, comes from. If you know the answer to that, where that reference is, bonus points to you. You're super cool. Question number 17. What disturbing connection is there with every known victim and their clothing? Was it A, they were forced to redress themselves before being murdered? B, all found completely nude? C, every victim's shoes were missing? Or D, all wore a school uniforms? Question number 17 of 20. What disturbing connection is there with every known victim and their clothing? Question number 17, 17, 17. Question number 17. What disturbing connection is there? The correct answer to question number 17 is C, as in cat. Every single victim was missing their shoes. The shoes were never found. Question number 18. What racial bias has surrounded the case and investigation since it happened? Was it A, victims' families never interviewed? B, the media coverage was minimal? C, the police refused federal help? Or D, evidence was never collected? Question number 18 of 20. What racial bias has surrounded this case and investigation since it happened? Smoke 'em if you got 'em. Well, B seems to be a hard one, but a good answer. The correct answer to question number 18 is B, as in boy. Of the 11 television stations in the state and round surrounding areas that could have covered the Freeway Phantom, only 5 of the 11 stations ever did anything other than their initial reporting of the case of the dead girls being found along the freeway. Newspapers, they did a little bit of coverage, and then it went to page 4 or 6 in the paper. Again, if they were poor little white girls, it would have been all over the front page and leading the evening news. It's sad, very sad. Question number 19. How did law enforcement first learn about the taunting note and other key factors of the crimes? Was it A, a newspaper publication, B, leaked by one officer, C, court records, or D, photographs by news TV? Question number 19 of 20. That one, I'll give you that one, sweet universe, Joe Tallchief. It could have been all 5. Federal, refused to help, media bias. Yeah, it could have been all of the above. So if you answered anything for the last one, count yourself as getting that one correct. Because I guess all of them do apply at some point during the investigation. How did law enforcement first learn about the taunting note and other key factors of the crime? Question number 19. The correct answer is A as in apple, a newspaper publication. Yes, a photojournalist had taken a photograph of the actual crime scene and noted in his notes and then asked about the note in that circumstances. Did not publish the picture of the dead child, but took a photograph of the crime scene of all the officers walking around, and no one bothered to secure evidence before it blew away. Again, you would never see something like this. That was the 1970s, okay? So part of it is that, nobody knew, how, forensics may be collected. They were just starting to get into it. I mean, hell, they still believed in, that you could, certain, things that have been definitely proven to be, hogwash since then. But they learned about it from a public newspaper's publication and questions that, the reporter had asked. Question number 20 of 20. Why has this case never come to trial? Was it A, the main suspect died? B, police didn't care to finish it? C, not enough evidence? Or D, Barry Morphew got off already? Question number 20 of 20. Why was this case never come to trial? Okay, the kid's going with A. No question mark. Very strong. A. I think it's A. I know it's A. Lemon pie is going with A as well. Oh boy. Here we go. A. Is it A? Lemon pie. Judge wanted to play golf. Oh, it's funny as that is. That's actually happened. That has actually happened. I know of a case out of Sacramento, California. The judge refused to sign the warrant because they wanted to go golfing, and said that he would review the case and the warrant after he got back from playing golf. So they were supposed to go serve the warrant, and it would have saved the victim's life, but he signed it like 3 or 4 hours later. By then, the victim was dead. That has actually happened. I'm sorry, but it's funny as it is, but that actually has happened. Why has this case never come to trial? The correct answer is A as in apple. Yes, again, the main perpetrator, they believe, committed all of them, died before it could ever be, handed down through a grand jury to indict. Freeway Phantom, the girl, the 7th victim. Area school girl. So we know of 6. Here is the 7th. I tried to find the date on this newspaper publishing. I just found this one multiple times before, I've already put the trivia night together, and then I found this one that talks about a 7th girl, and then I found one that said that there may be an 8th one that was connected to the Freeway Phantom, but I can't find a date on either one of them. They're just out there on Getty Images. How did you do on tonight's trivia? Again, it's completely optional to give yourself a letter grade. Some people like to keep score. Some people don't. That's completely optional. I would have gotten 9 out of the 20, not even a 50%. Put me down in the C category at that. But if you got, any of those, if you kept score, that great. If not, it's all the same. We're just playing for education and for fun. Do you have a question about tonight's trivia, or a suggestion for a topic later on? contact me at the email address that's right there in blue on the screen. If I made a mistake, I will look into it. And I have Short Nice commented that Smith was not one of the 6 known victims. And I will definitely look into that Short Nice to confirm if Smith was one of the 6. And if so, I will give you a shout out on the next episode. Next week, trivia subject is For the Children. Jimmy Salville is the next trivia night. Jimmy Salville. If you're not familiar with him, read up on him or do an internet search. But that is next week's trivia subject is Jimmy Salville, or how you pronounce it. But that is tonight's trivia. Purple, you have a great week ahead. And remember, Purple, you never know who's going to be standing next to you next. And you never know who's going to be knocking at your door. You usually get a C or a D. Again, it's completely optional to give yourself a letter grade on this. I knew a little bit about it over the years, and I'll tell you, this is the honest truth. All right, I never heard of the Freeway Phantom or the Highway Phantom. I never heard of the case at all. It never even crossed my radar until the actual shootings that took place in Washington, D.C. from the D.C. sniper. And when I first started going down that road, reading about the D.C. sniper case and the shootings and everything else along with that, and I started researching that case. It's a trivia night we did a long time ago, probably about a year ago now. But anyways, that's when the actual the Freeway Phantom case came up on my radar, and I started reading about it a little bit here and there. And then I took notes like I do on everything. I write them down on a little piece of paper and I put them in an envelope, or a file thing like these ones here. And I file them away. And then later on, somebody else suggested the Freeway Phantom. And then I go through the files and I see if anybody actually suggested that, and if I have any notes on it. And sure enough, I had some notes on it already. That's how I knew something about the Freeway Phantom. But it never came across my desk as a trivia subject or anything that I've read about until, the DC sniper case. But again, next week is the creepy Jimmy Salville. It's next week's trivia. I hope everyone had fun. If you did, give this a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. Now, I appreciate everyone being here tonight for trivia. And I hope that each and every one of you has a terrific week ahead. Bye.